The Supreme Court dropped their final rulings of the year, and in one of the decisions today, they gave Joe Biden the go-ahead to continue the Biden border invasion. Will Stinger. Old Joe finally got a big win today at the Supreme Court. He has not had much good news lately from them, but finally, Chief Justice John Roberts, as well as Justice Brett Kavanaugh, joined with the liberals on the court to allow Old Joe to kill the Remain in Mexico policy that Trump created to send asylum seekers back across the border to wait for their cases to be heard instead of them letting them stay here in the United States. Bergquam and Todd Bensman join us now. Thanks to both of you for being here. We've been on this story for a long time. Ben, I want to go to you first. Your reaction to Roberts and Kavanaugh joining with the liberals on the court to side with the Biden administration and end the Remain in Mexico policy.
Well, I wasn't surprised by Roberts. He tends to side more with the liberals than he does with the conservatives lately. I was really disappointed with Kavanaugh and really in the analysis of his findings. When you read down a couple of the comments, I just want to read. He made that DHS may grant non-citizens parole into the United States if parole provides a significant public benefit. And then he also goes on to say parole entails releasing individuals in case-by-case basis when the United States has reasonable assurance that they will appear at all hearings. I don't know if he's just ignorant to the facts or is just not paying attention, but clearly neither of those two things are occurring right now. And so to give your justification for allowing the Remain in Mexico policy to end based on those two qualifications, it's just ludicrous to me. I mean, clearly there's no public benefit from what we have going on with this invasion. And secondarily, we know the vast majority of these people never show up to their hearings. So to justify that, it just makes no sense. I think the dissent by Alito and joined in by the other dissenters. It just, Justice Thomas. It's clear that that's the way it should have gone. Now there's question whether or not it goes back down to the lower court, whether that changes anything. But for all intents and purposes, it's a bad day for America today, and a good day for the people that hate this country and want to continue to see the invasion.
Yeah, Ben, I can't help but wonder. From a motivational standpoint, which is what I always look at, if you can't find the motivation that makes sense in the cognitive schema of the person who made the decision, specifically speaking about Kavanaugh here, was this maybe a little self-protection, a little, hey, we want to end on something that kind of throws a bone to the liberals, since most of the constitutional decisions we've had to decide have been on the other side, and we really would like to avoid being killed this year on our break? I mean, you have to ask that question, right?
Well, he's Justice Kavanaugh. This is one of the issues where he has been kind of weak on it up until this point, and so it didn't surprise me. It just disappoints me. But to me, it's just clearly he doesn't know what's going on, because if he was paying attention to what was happening on our southern border, he could not have made those two statements and done it to justify his decision. But again, it's bad for America.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. And Todd, the conveyor belt, as you describe it, it'll now work faster and faster and more efficiently thanks to this decision from the Supreme Court. Or was the Remain in Mexico actually slowing anyone down at all? I think it's one of those things that sounds good, and I never know if it's really working. But you have the inside scoop on this stuff. So to you on this.
Well, you make a great point. I'm going to give you a little bit of a more optimistic analysis of this. The Biden
that was cynical, wasn't it? Go ahead.
Well, the Biden administration has been under a court order to be using Remain in Mexico since December. The total number of immigrants that actually were pushed back was 7,200, which is like a single day these days. That is a very small number for months and months and months. They had poked so many holes in the thing, so many exemptions, that it really wasn't doing anything at all. There was no deterrent impact, like when it was in the hands of Donald Trump, who pushed 70,000 back in about the same period of time. So the fact that they're not, that what the difference between using it and not using it is like kind of nil. I never met immigrants. I never talked to immigrants down in Mexico, and Ben probably can back me up on this, who were like, oh my God, they're doing MPP again. They're doing Remain. We're not coming. But when Trump had it, I would go down there and everybody was scared to death. I mean, and they were going home. There was the United Nations was bringing buses up to fill up with the people that had decided to go home, and people down there weren't coming because of it. So, I mean, it's kind of a so what, practically speaking. And there's one other benefit to it, which is that when a Republican finally does get the White House and they put back Remain in Mexico, nobody's going to be able to gum it up because there's a Supreme Court ruling out there that says they can't.